Thank you, Olga. Thanks for having me, EA. I'm a very proud advisor for you guys. I don't show up too often, as you probably know, so it's a special time for me. Looking for a topic, that really got me interested in the Key West economy. Make a long story short, I met, when I moved to Orlando back in, I was counting the years, so I met this guy, Mark, who, if all the technology works, we'll be talking to him and you'll ask questions. He's my economics correspondent in Key West. He invited me, so we were good buddies way back when, and then we got hooked up, and he wrote a book. It's called Off the Grid. So anyway, the guy's a salty dog. He lives on a sailboat outside of Key West, and he asked me, "Hey, why don't you come down to visit?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, man! All I got to do is get down there, and you live on a sailboat." So I did that for 7 days and 7 nights and had a blast. And Key West is just total fun, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Key West economy, right? You think this place is driven by alcohol consumption. Go down to Key West. Sort of like South Bourbon Street or something like that. So anyway, we had a lot of fun, and I got to see the economy tick, so I'm going to talk a little bit about how the economy ticks, which you probably already know already. And then, of course, it's devastated from Irma. And then we're going to go ahead and FaceTime Mark, who is down there right now. I talked to him a few times about how dead it is down there, okay? So just to take a look here real quick at this little picture here, what do you see? A bunch of sailboats. Well, what are they doing? Well, they're anchored out there. Are people living on those sailboats? And the answer is hell yeah. Everybody's living on a sailboat. There's over 200, 300 sailboats. Why are they out there living on a sailboat? What's the rent? What's the rent on water versus the rent on land? It's not economics. It's economics 101. So you can live on a sailboat for free, okay? And so what we call this back here, he calls it Little Tip C. Pretty cute, right? Little Tip C. But it's spelled with his S-E-A, right? That's his dinghy, and that's how people go to and from town. And these are the locals that do what? Serve the service-based economy, i.e. serve the tourists, right? So everyone's serving the tourists. They live on a boat. That's the only way they can afford to live there, okay? So let's go through a couple slides, and then I'll be quick because I want to spend some time, if the technology works, as Mark, because I think you might be interested in what's going on right now rather than stuff you already probably know. Okay, so let's go through. There's a picture from on the bill. There's a sunset. And of course, you see all those anchored boats out there. So I thought I'd start off with some pretty pictures. There it is at night. Key West is the bright lights there on the left. It was probably a little less than a mile where he used to go. So now we're starting with the economy. One of the big things down there, of course, is fishing. Fishing is great down there. That's out there on the Gulf Stream. That's a chartered boat. I was actually the first mate of that boat because Mark is a captain. So they called up my buddy Mark and said, "Hey, we need you to captain this boat." And he goes, "We also need a mate." All right, I've done this stuff in 20-some years. I used to share a boat with Mark, and we used to go offshore fishing. So anyway, it was an easy day for me, and it was a lot of fun. We got out there. So there's a big part of the economy, of course, is fishing and recreation. Lobstering, we got to do some lobstering. We caught some 6 lobsters. Think about all the physical labor and human capital it takes to catch a lobster. I mean, Mark, the guy we're going to talk to, is excellent at catching lobsters, right? And so we caught 7 that day. It was mini lobster season. And what they do is they have a small lobster season on Wednesday and Thursday to take care of the locals. And you could walk across the boats on the bay because everybody was lobstering. And so that brings in a lot of cash, right? This is the dinghy dock. So I talked about dinghies before. This is where everybody parks their dinghies so that they go to work. And at the end of the day, what do? Hop in their dinghy and go to their sailboat, right? All right. There's a nice big boat, more recreation, more part of the economy. This place is really cool. If you ever go to Key West, go to what they call, dip and sip. You go out 10 miles to a reef, you dip, which means you snorkel for an hour. It takes an hour to get out there. Then you snorkel for an hour, and then what's the sip? Free drinks, booze, beer, free food, everything. And it only costs like $50 a head. So it's a pretty good deal, right? Makeup of the Key West economy, totally tourist-based, without a doubt. The tourists, the locals, and then there's rich people that are just rich, okay? Lots, as I said before, it just revolves around alcohol. I've heard this story a lot of times. If you get pulled, if you get like public drunkenness, they'll throw you in a drunk tank and they'll keep giving you a breathalyzer, and then once you pass that breathalyzer, they let you go. They never write you up. They want you to go spend more money on booze. So they don't write anyone up. They're so friendly. Why? They want you to come back. You're tourists. Pay our tax base, right? Everything's, you know, there's no sales tax. There's no state income tax in Florida. They just run the economy with sales tax from the tourists. Okay? Tax that out alcohol. Why? Inelastic. It's sin. You're going to buy it anyway, right? What I thought was pretty neat was two prices. So my buddy Mark, who's a local, we would go into the bar, and who would order the drinks? Mark, because we would get them at half price. The tourists pay the real high price, right? So it's like locals taking care of locals. It's really neat to see, right? Because they know how damn expensive it is down there, okay? Enter Irma. Okay, Mark has a Facebook page. He was in Fort Lauderdale at the time. Of course, you know where it went. It hit Key West just about Sunday at 8 a.m. Mark was up in Fort Lauderdale babysitting a boat for somebody. I can show you this. It's just a picture of Irma. Here, I thought this was kind of interesting because Mark was telling me, you know, I was asking him about his boat because it was, you know, anchored out there with all the other boats. And if we go ahead and zoom in a little bit there, this is Mark's boat. So this is the boat that I stayed on. And when I talked to him a few days ago, he was kind of positive, like, yeah, it still looks pretty good. And then when I go back, let's see, I'm going to screw up this PowerPoint. Here we go, here. If I go one more and see if this works, right? It should work. There it is there. I think we put mute on for it. So there it is. So that's the picture, that's the boat that we saw in the picture, right? So he finally gets to see his home after like 10 days, right? And when we pull up there, I'll speed it up a little bit, right? Start looking at it. So once you turn a corner, he had to be like crying because this is what the boat looks like. Just totally destroyed. So it's just like I said, just totally destroyed. So really bad for him, right? But everything's totally destroyed down there, right? And so we'll just talk a little bit about economics, and then we'll try to get a hook on Mark, and we can ask him how the economy's doing now, because it was just a bustling town with all you know, all the wheels turning very nice when I was down there. Think about the loss in income. You talk about the multiplier effect, right? A lot of tourists come down, people spend money, then everyone spends money. Like it's like having a home football game here. Now think about the multiplier effect in reverse. You don't think about that often, right? We always think about the positive multiplier, the negative multiplier. No jobs down there, you know, nobody's down there, none of the businesses are open yet. So it's just a nightmare. There's no food. You had to go to FEMA to get food. And now they're running out of food down there because there's no food. So, the role of government. We know the role of government for market failures. What are the market failures? Anybody? Monopolies. You got to break up monopolies in a capitalistic economy. You got to break up monopolies. What else? Come on, you guys are econ people. The public good problem, right? Non-exclusion, non-rival, marginal cost, additional user zero. Price being zero, right? It's not going to work. And what's the third market failure? Externalities. Now, you know what the government does down there with all those 200 sailboats? What do? The government empties the crap out of them. Because if they don't empty the crap out of them, where's the crap going? In the water. Let's not kid anybody. I mean, these people can hardly afford to feed themselves. They're not going to go through all the cost of, you know, taking care of their sewage. And so the government does that. What's the other two roles? So the three market failures, but what are the other two roles of government? The one we really take it for granted. I'll give you a more controversial one. Income redistribution. Are they doing any income redistribution down there right now? Where did Mark get his hamburger? FEMA. What's FEMA? Government-run organization. So they are taking taxpayer money and feeding and doing their job. But what's the one we take for granted? And I'll tell you, and you can ask Mark about this, right? Mark had to get a boat and go from Fort. The only way he could get to Key West was through boat because they had all the roads, well, the one road shut, right? And so he's trying to get to shore. And there was a bunch of people in camouflage walking around with these big-ass guns. And they said, "Who the hell are you?" Then Mark was actually in handcuffs for like 5 hours, and I'm not sure if it was for that. I think it might have been the stolen gun or something, but, you know, besides the point. What were they afraid? What were they doing on shore? The thing we take advantage of the most, protection of private property. They were keeping the looters out. They thought he was a looter, and so they were doing their job, right? And that's one thing we take for granted. Because, you know, someone comes into our house, we can call a cop. But when no one's there, all the people left. There was, you know, there's evacuations. So anyway, so let's hook up Mark. You want to do that? And then hopefully things will work out. He's a great guy, salty dog, blue collar all the way. I met him when I was a plasterer down in Florida, and we had a lot of good times together. So hopefully it'll work.
I've never had this guy's
Number? Yes, that would help, right?
It's pretty interesting.
Okay, so
It's already open. Oh, it is? How is I Did you raise that? Jacob, please?
That's true.
I'm saying she's a liar. I'm saying I didn't.
we got. What's he gonna see? There he is. Hello. Oh, we can't hear.
Oh, I have some keys.
Hold on.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
He can hear us.
Hey, can you hear us? So how come we can't hear him? Hold on.
Her computer on Oh, is he on mute?
Yeah.
Are you on mute by any chance? That's hard now.
Oh, now they all hear him.
Yeah.
We tell them. It doesn't matter. Yes. Mine.
What type of like?
Yeah, that's not.
Hey, remember that time I didn't turn on my Because you got to years, you know.
How was your exam? Really? What is that class about?
I should have done so much. It's really not hard. I just was very good at doing studying my job. I'm not expecting it.
Yeah, right? I mean, I have no idea.
And like I went to half the time, I didn't survive.
Yeah, we're gonna
Really? That's all that matters. What is it
Yeah,
like? It's not math, right?
press all that.
I just downloaded the whole video and you said it.
There you go. That's perfect.
How come we can't hear the radio?
Real, oh, that works.
Can you hear us? Wait, oh, no. Oh, 6 we need to do. There is a cable that we use that.
You need that to plug in the.
Do we have an audio cable?
Yes.
You can hear.
You can hear us. The issue is that we
I know. Can you say something again?
Hello? Hey, awesome.
Good, turn it around. How you doing, Mark?
I'm great.
All right.
The ceiling looks good. Oh, there we go.
All right, so, welcome. This is the Penn State Economics Association, and they got some stuff to say to you, or you can say to them. How are you doing down there?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm interested in what the questions will be.
Okay. Good, questions? Good, Victoria.
How long do you think it's going to be until like bars and stuff are back open and people are going to start traveling down there?
You know, that's a good question. There's a few bars that have been open the whole